And welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk about adding our scripts that need to be added, if that makes sense. Anyway, we're going to publish this thing out to NPM today. We're going to run a little bit of a prepare script, be able to understand the versioning concepts of NPM and how to push our versions up into GitHub. So without further ado, let's get started. So I went ahead and opened up the package.json file and added these three individual script names: prepare, version, and post version. One of the big things to understand when talking about NPM is that NPM has their own, callback scripts that happen when you necessarily run something. So for instance, if I were to create a brand new patch version, so right now I'm on version 001, if I run npm version patch, we should get a couple of things happening. One, you can see that the package.json was modified and it actually committed, but it might be best to just take a look at the terminal. If we can take a look that we're going to version add the source, basically everything within the source directory, and then we're going to push the tags. And what that's going to do is create a brand new version over here that says, hey, everything that's included in this version has these commits. And then from there, we can simply run npm run publish. npm publish. And there we go. Now we have our library set. And we can run out to npm now and search for our library name. And we can see that we're on version 2. And we could simply copy this if we wanted to. Maybe go out to code sandbox, create a new sandbox. We'll create a React TypeScript. We'll add our dependencies here, and we can just add it as what the name is, which is the library proper px. We can add that as a dependency. And sure enough, when we get in here, one of the easiest things that we can do is just look and see what code we have exported. Obviously, you probably want to add this to your documentation, but we see we have a button component. And so what happens if we go ahead and import that? Say import button from, there's a library example proper px. So, and if we just bring in our button like this, there we go. Now we have our button. Now obviously we don't have our styles or anything because we haven't necessarily assigned any class names to this. Now, one of the cool things is, see how we have this button and it's the background color of orange? If I come over into my code sandbox and I actually import from the library itself the styles. So if I come over and I say I want the main Sass file from this lib, so this will be here, and we'll say dist, then we'll say main.css, like so. And if we put the class name on this button, the background color should be orange. Let's see if that runs. And it may be because it can't necessarily find the files there. So let me see if that was actually something that distribution dist main.css, that should be there. It's because we're not passing the rest of the properties down to the component in our example yet. That's why. That's fun. Uh, we get more onto that, but we could actually probably change that really quickly, to be honest. We have children, and let's just spread the props out real quick on the button. And let's go ahead and push a new commit. Let's create a new version here. Publish a new version. Come back out to this guy. We'll bump up a version. I have to refresh that. There we go. We're on version 3. And there we go. The orange button is there. And so this really allows us to now pass in like our on-click events, things like that. And this moving forward, this is honestly how I'll start showing how to utilize the package without having to go and create 1,000 different test applications. I can show you a way that you can do this locally without having to post a new version, which is what I would do with most of my development locally. But other than that, when you want to test it in the real world, instead of creating another full application, you kind of want to see how it's going to work in other environments. So Code Sandbox may be one of those places to look into. So very simple. Patch versioning, minor versioning. I'll probably do another video later on that talks more about the semantics of versioning with NPM. There's plenty of articles as well, so I'll probably try to leave those in the description below. So have a good one, and we'll see you in the next one and talk about common use cases for component libraries and maybe some tips and tricks of how to make things a little bit easier to code and to manage. See you in the next